Good morning. Today we are continuing on. It looks like it's something new, but it's going to continue on with our graphing. So we are doing CO49. I can create a function table, and then in tomorrow's lesson objective, we're going to be graphing that function table. So first we're going to learn how to create a function table. And then tomorrow we're going to connect it with the graphing part. So this all connects together to what we're learning. So creating that function table. So we have some definitions that we need to do. We need to know what these words mean. First is input. Input is what you plug into an equation. And we call that what's being tested. So it's what you're putting into it. Output is the result of the equation or test. So it's what you're getting out of it. Input is when you're putting the number into it. Output is what the result, what you get out of it, the answer, right? You have an equation with the function table. We're going to put something in, we're going to take it out. So I'm going to ask that you put that away so we can be focusing on those. A function table is a way to organize multiple inputs and outputs to get, and this is where we're connecting it, that's how we're going to get our ordered pairs to graph for a graph. I need to write so you can actually read it. So we're going to put a number into the equation, we get a number out of it. Those are going to become our x and y that we're going to put on a graph. We're going to do that part tomorrow. Okay, so today we're just focusing on making that function table. Tomorrow we're going to learn how to take that same function table and graph it. So the equation we get from a function table is known as the rule for the table. Okay, so that equation is the rule. When we're taking our math test, might say, what is the rule for this function table? So we have to learn how to figure out what operations are happening. How is it increasing or decreasing? We're going to create a function table with at least 4 inputs, outputs for each equation given. So on this objective, we're being given the rule, and we're just going to put it into the function table. Remember, you can choose the inputs for your table, so choose smart ones, and I'm going to show you what that means. Okay. So I'm going to erase this so I can scroll up. When we make our function table, you're going to have an x and a y at the top. So you're going to create your table looking like this. Our rule says the y equals x plus 1. So our input, what we're putting into our equation, is going to be different x's. Different numbers for the x. So when it's a standard rule like this, I like to start with 1, 2, 3, 4. for my x's. If I put a 1 in for the x, what do I get out for the y? Rhoda?
A 1?
If I put 1 in my equation for the x,
Oh, 2.
a 2. So then I do the equation, 1 plus 1, so y equals 2. I like to go, just my brain likes to go numerically. That's a smart choice for me, if I'm able to. I'm gonna show you some that you might wanna switch what you're doing. But for this one, because it said we have to go up to 4 inputs and outputs. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, because I have to have at least 4 points. If I put a 2 in for my x, so I'm putting in a 2, what do I get out for my y? Jack?
3.
3, because 2 plus 1 equals 3. My next one, I'm putting in a 3 for my x. What do I get out for my y? Matt? A 4. 3 plus 1 equals 4. Now I'm going to put in a 4. So my x is what I put in. I'm putting in the 4. What do I get out for my y? Michael?
5.
5. So we can kind of see, I like to choose numbers close to each other like that go in a pattern when I put in my x, so I can see a pattern with my y. And I can see, am I following the pattern? When we get to one that has a fraction, this is, Joy, do you got a question? You can choose your x. So when it says you can choose the inputs, you can put whatever x you want. Like I said, for me, smart ones, I just like to go 1, 2, 3, 4 because it's easy for me. Okay, that's what I choose to do. Does that mean that's what you have to do? No. But you do have to make sure that whatever you put in for x, you do the math to get the correct y out. So on the test, if you put in a 10 for the x, your y would have to be 11. So if your x doesn't match the y with the rule, it will be wrong. Okay? When you come to one that has multiplying with a fraction, this is when you really want to stop and think. It is going to be a lot easier to find a y if your x is a multiple of that denominator, because then you're going to work with whole numbers. So if I put in a 2 for my x, that would be 1/2 times 2, which would be 2 over 2, right? Because that whole number, we put a 1 under it. So 2 over 2 is a 1. If I put in a 3, then I would have, oops, 1 underneath. I would have 3 over 2, and then I would have a decimal that I would end up with 3 divided by 2. And I don't want to work with decimals, okay? So it's a lot easier, because we can't graph 3 over 2. And we're going to be graphing this y. So we'd have to turn it into a decimal, and it just gets messy. So that's why I like to work with multiples. What would be the next multiple of 2? Think about your multiples of 2. What would come next, Fernanda?
4.
4. What would be the next multiple? Vinny?
6.
And what would be the next multiple of 2? Jack?
8.
8. So I'm going to use those multiples of 2 for my x, for my input. So here, if I put a 4 in for x, I get 4 over 2. What's my y going to be? Joy? 2, because 4 divided by 2 is 2. that's gonna be an easy ordered pair for me to graph, right? We don't want fractions and decimals, because those get tricky to graph. So if we stick with multiples of that denominator, the next one would be 1/2 times 6/1, which is 6/2. What would my y be? What is 6 divided by 2? Joy? And if I put an 8 in, 1/2 is 8/1, 8 halves. What is 8 divided by 2, Ashley?
4.
4. It makes it easy ordered pairs, easy numbers to work with. So when we say choose smart inputs, choose numbers that are easy for you to work with. So on the fractions, you really want to choose those multiples of the denominator, so you end up with those whole numbers when you put it in. So that's for when you're multiplying by fractions. On the other ones, you choose what your input is. For me, smart ones would be just 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's just the way my brain likes to go. That does not mean that's what you have to choose. Choose those inputs that work for you, that are easy to work with. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions on the function tables? And I believe, I'm just gonna double check, it's just a one-pager today, right? Okay, so go slow. Make sure you're getting correct outputs for the input that you're putting in. The X is what you put in, the Y is what you get out. So you're gonna put that number in for the variable of X, do the math, and then your answer is the output, the Y, what you get out of the equation when you put the X in. If it's multiplying by a fraction, make the smart choice and do multiples of that denominator. So if there's a 2 on bottom, I did 2, 4, 6, 8. If there's a 3 on the bottom, 3, 6, 9, 12. Make it numbers that you can divide evenly to get a whole number for your Y. See? Some of us were thinking, and we were looking at that, oh, Miss Gambino just helped us out with the 1/3 problem. These are my multiples I want to put down. Michael?
What about, I said that there's 2 on here, like 2 numbers.
Mhm.
So I just wondering.
So, if we put a 1 in for the X, you just do the math. The 3 in front of the X, what operation is that? Matt? Multiplication. So we know how to do order of operations, right? Multiply and divide before you add and subtract. We know how to do the order of operations. So you just do all the math that's given in the rule. So 3 times 1 and then subtract 8. Are we gonna have negative numbers that we have to work with? Yeah, we're in big kid math. So some of our answers might be negative numbers. Any other questions? If you finish this before class is done, Khan Academy. If you are finished with Khan Academy, it is due tonight. So if you finish it, yay, then work on packet number 8. If you don't finish, Khan Academy is homework. It's due tonight. If you are watching this at home, I hope you are well, and I hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.